Hello everyone, it's your host CyberBored, and today we're going to continue our series of home lab project. Now we're going to set up Debian distribution and build our own hacking machine, and we're going to set up our Metasploitable, and we're going to install Nmap on our Debian machine and run a scan on the Metasploitable. After installing the Debian machine, as we discussed in the previous videos, we're going to go through VirtualBox, press new, name it whatever you would like. You could also install Kali, which contains all the features and apps and tools that you would like to use, but installing your own Debian machine and configuring it the way you would like, installing the tools that you will only use, it's way better and more efficient for our PC. We're going to call our Debian machine CyberBored, and we're going to choose Debian 64, but as usual we're not going to use the ISO image immediately, as it might make some complication with the setup. We're going to use 4 MB of RAM, 4 processors, but the bare minimum that you need is 2 processors and 2.5 RAM of memory, and 60 GB disk should be more than enough. I'm just going to choose 100 GB and everything should be set up. Now for the next step, we're going to configure a few stuff. For example, we don't need the floppy disk. We're also going to add now the ISO image by navigating to where you installed it. For me it is in the downloads folder. And finally we're going to configure the network adapter to internal network and connect to our Active Directory or domain server that we set up last video, and run some tests against our Metasploitable. After launching the Debian machine, we're going to be greeted with this window, and we're going to choose graphical installation and wait for it to load. One note to mention is that you should keep the sound adapter on, as Kali for some reason won't work without it. Now that it finished loading, we're going to choose whatever language you would like and press continue. Choose the keyboard layout, press continue, and we're going to wait for it to finish loading. After it's done loading and it's connected now to our Windows server, now we're going to choose the domain name, which it was DC Active Directory. We're going to set a root password. Now the root password is very important. You should make a very complex and strong password, because once the root account or the root password is compromised, your account would be under compromise. And now we're going to choose a username. Set up a password for the username. Now choose a clock. It can be anywhere, depends on your zone or time zone or the location where you live. Next we're going to set up the partition. We're going to choose guided use entire disk, continue, and we're going to leave it as default by leaving all files in one partition. Then press continue to finish the setup. Then press yes and continue. And we're going to wait for the partitions to finish formatting, and we should be good to go. Now we are prompted if we want to scan for any extra installation. For me, I don't want any extra installation, so I'm going to leave it as no and continue, 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 as I don't want any proxy. For this step, we're going to leave it at no, as we don't want them to be using our data and collecting anything on us. Continue and wait for more loading and installations. Finally, we're going to choose the softwares that we want running on our machine. We're going to choose GNOME as the interface. You can choose whatever you would like from these. And we're going to turn on web server, and we're going to leave SSH server, as I don't need SSH server on my machine. The web server is useful for later when we want to launch a website and do some attacks and use some tools. And we're going to press continue. Now I'm pretty sure we are on the final installation. Now we're going to install Grub bootloader into our BIOS. Grub is one of the most popular bootloaders that installs directly into your BIOS, and it gives you the option to choose which operating system you would like to load from. In simple terms, it's like a menu that gives you the ability to choose preferences. For example, if you would like to boot from Windows or you would like to boot from Linux, it depends on which operating system you have installed and which operating system you would like to boot from and use. Finally, now we're on the final step of the installation. We can now boot into our Debian system. We're going to just press enter. We will be greeted with this window. We're just going to enter the password that we set for our user and wait for it to finish loading, and then we're going to immediately update our system. To add our new user into sudo, we just have to write su- to enter our root account, type the password of the root account that we set up, and then we're going to add the following password: user mode -a sudo and the name of the user, which is CyberBored. After we add our user into the sudo group, we're just going to reboot our system and the user should be good to go. For example, if you type sudo apt update and sudo apt upgrade, as you can see, it will easily upgrade and no problems. After setting up our user into the sudo group, we're going to install the following libraries to be able to install the guest additions. These libraries are necessary for the installation. Type the sudo command or password, sorry. I forgot to press -y, and after the libraries have finished installation, we're just going to go to the guest edition file and we're going to run the software. Press yes, type the root password, type yes, and after the installation is complete, everything should be running smoothly. We are going to install something called extension, which is the GNOME extensions. You can find it over here, which is already installed. So next we're going to go to Firefox. For the GNOME extensions, we're going to search for tweaks, which is this application or software. We're going to go to Windows style bar and we're going to add the minimize and maximize buttons because it's quite annoying without them. We should also have an option to go into dark mode actually. And you can find the theme and the setting in appearance section to make it into dark mode. We're going to install doc to dash, which is this one, which is going to just give us this cool feature where we can access the dash whenever we want for applications, and we're going to install. And as you can see, it's working quite well. And you can also tweak and change preferences with the setting from here. Next we're going to be installing Terminator, which is similar to the terminal, but it allows for cool features like split window and multitasking, etc. And we're going to now install the Nmap, so we're going to run sudo apt install Nmap -y. Now we're going to set up the Metasploitable. We're going to press new, name it, choose Linux, 64-bit. Next, leave it at the default setting as this is a lightweight machine, doesn't need more resources. Use an existing virtual hard disk, add, and we're going to locate the Metasploitable machine where we installed it, and we're going to choose this file, vmdk file, and choose next, finish, and we're going to launch our Metasploit machine. After loading the Metasploitable, now we need to log into the account, and you can find the password or credentials on the Metasploitable website. As you can see, it's over here, msfa admin, the password and the username. After we have relaunched, I'm going to try and do port scan, and we will wrap everything up for today. And with this, I think chapter 1 should be complete. In chapter 2 of the Home Lab series, we're going to set up the fsync, security onion, maybe Wazoo, Splunk, and we're going to do some tweaks with group policy objects to make our systems and end users safer. And now we have got the IP address working correctly. The Metasploitable is connected. We're going to perform sudo nmap sc for default script and sv to get information about the ports, about the versions and everything. And we're going to add 192.168.0.101 and we're going to launch. And here you have the results. We have scripts. Let's expand the screen. As you can see, we have PostGRE SQL, we have many open ports, we have port 80 for HTTP, we have port 139 for BIOS, 445 for SMB, and many other commands that are vulnerable and we could access. That's all for today. We're going to wrap it up. This is the end of chapter 1 of this series, and I'll see you on the next episode, chapter 2. Thanks for watching.